The Switch Lite came out a few years after the original Switch first debuted, so at that point in time, we really didn't know what to expect out of a new revision of the Switch, and least of all were we expecting a portable-only version of the Switch, because that sort of defeats the whole purpose of its name. But then as time gone on, it has quickly become one of my favorite versions of the Switch. Sure, there's the OLED model and then the later red box model Switch that sort of is basically the original Switch but with better battery life and the more efficient SoC that can't be easily hacked. So that one never really made a big difference in my opinion. So, and the OLED is just a little too expensive for my blood. So the Switch Lite was uniquely positioned to be such a good and great value for sort of like the default option for those who aren't like super diehard into, playing Switch games or something, just to pick that up to play the exclusives. And now I think it's one of the best values in gaming. The Nintendo Switch Lite has aged remarkably well, especially comparing it to the other models of the Switch and other handhelds about. So seeing how the Switch has aged so gracefully, is it still worth it to buy nowadays? And it is a resounding yes. The Switch Lite can be had for around $100 on eBay and other used marketplaces. I've seen it as low as $80 and fairly consistently comes with its charger and extra games in some cases for less than half of its original retail price. So just as a whole, the Switch Lite is one of the best values in gaming. Like, there aren't very many gaming consoles that you can buy right now, used or new, that really compete in terms of quality games at that price point. The closest thing I can think of is like the Xbox Series S, where you can get one of those used for a couple $100, but it's not necessarily a great deal, and it doesn't necessarily mean the games would be good. I'm not saying the Xbox exclusive games aren't good or great, just kind of meh, especially when you're comparing them to the exclusive offerings that you could get on the Switch, which in my opinion might be more appealing for people, especially if you're looking for a good value and good quality experiences. And we've been getting some surprisingly high quality ports on the Switch. So games like Hogwarts Legacy and Borderlands 3, which is a game I would have never thought would have come to the Switch, can be played portably in something the size only slightly larger than a Vita, which back in the day could barely run Borderlands 2, and now we have a device only a touch larger that can run Borderlands 3. Granted, it looks kind of gross, but it runs fairly decently. At least better than my experience on my original Xbox One. So if that's my bar, I'm sitting pretty. And for those of you who just don't want to spend a lot on a new game system, but you want to start investing in the Switch ecosystem, so when the Switch 2 comes out, this Switch Lite is the best choice, because you can buy it real cheap, start accruing a bunch of digital games, physical games, and when the Switch 2 comes out and it hopefully supports backwards compatibility, you could just sell off the Switch Lite and then continue to keep growing your Switch library without having to really wait or have a delay in when you can start to play those games. And something that isn't really talked about is just how portable it is. The system is remarkably portable and super pocket friendly in a sense. Granted, I have giant guy pockets, so it doesn't necessarily mean everybody can fit this in their pocket, but it is a very, portable friendly system is what I'm trying to say. The device is very compact and it has a stellar design, not the most ergonomic device out there. It gives me a lot of, Retroid Pocket 2 and 3 and 4 vibes. So it's like those devices aren't very comfortable, but they are very pretty. And you can get the Switch Lite in so many different colors, sort of console variants. It's just so many fun, ways to sort of find the perfect Switch Lite for you. And I know they do this for the full-size Switch and the Switch OLED, but those are always so much more expensive. And I understand the Switch Lite isn't necessarily perfect for everybody, especially if you do want to dock the system, which is something you can't do with the Switch Lite. But I've always predominantly played my, original launch Switch portably or just not docked. So it's not something that I really considered. And so for those of you who do want a good value Nintendo Switch, just get the original Switch used off of something like eBay. It's like $110 and $130 usually. And I don't usually consider that kind of thing. For me, at least, if I want to play these games that badly, I wouldn't willing to make the sacrifice to just have it in portable only. And many of my other friends just made that decision too. They wanted to play Switch games, but they didn't want to drop an extra $100 to do so. They would much rather spend that extra $100 that you would have saved buying a Switch Lite on buying a game or two, or buying a game in like an indie game off of the eShop. So it's just a different perspective, Like, I try to maximize my budget as much as I possibly could. So if I could achieve the same level of performance and I have access to all of the same games, and I'm okay sacrificing dockability, it's a simple choice to make to buy the Switch Lite and play all my games portable only, and use that money I saved on buying the system on buying more games for the system. So I could enjoy it more, play it more, and all the more reason to enjoy the system. And some other underrated features of the Switch Lite is that the Switch Lite has an amazing screen. Even though it is still a 720p IPS panel, it's just because it's a smaller size, it has a higher degree of sharpness, a tighter pixel density because of that smaller size, and it has an immaculate display. So those games you play on the Switch Lite will look amazing. Sometimes it could be a little washed out or not as saturated as I'd like it to be, but it is still an immaculate display and games look amazing on it. Battery life too is pretty good. My friend left their Switch Lite in their desk when they went to go do basically a summer internship in SoCal, and when they came back home, they opened their Switch Lite they pulled their Switch Lite out of the drawer and turned on, and it still had like 35% battery, and he left it at like 90 something. So it's crazy that he was able to leave his Switch Lite in his desk for like 2.5 months and came back for it to still be, powered. It's insane. And so the standby battery life is good. The portable, just average while playing game battery life is actually fairly decent. Being able to get like 4 hours playing Tears of the Kingdom. Granted, this was on like a fresh Switch Lite, so I don't know how well the battery would have aged otherwise. If you have like a very old, or if you're buying a used Switch Lite, the battery life might be a little bit worse, because like my original Switch's battery life, that thing dies. Like if I'm playing Smash Brothers, or if I'm playing like Mario Odyssey or something, that fucker dies in like 2 hours if I'm playing on it, because I've had it since 2017. The thing is going on like 7 or 8 years old. Like, it's very old now. And that's something that is weird to think about, that the Switch is getting so old. But the Switch Lite, in comparison, is 2 years younger, if my memory serves me correctly. But to answer the question that I posed in the beginning of the video, is the Nintendo Switch Lite worth it in 2024? And that is a resounding yes. The device has never been better. It is one of the best values in gaming right now. It has unmatched portability, a high quality gaming experience, and with the rumored delay of the Switch 2, it is a perfect time to buy a Switch Lite and then sell it off when the Switch 2 comes out. So you would have, enjoyed all those Switch games, and when the Switch 2 comes out, you'll be able to transition and without having to have spent a crap ton of money on something like an OLED. So what are your thoughts? Are you buying a Switch Lite? Have you waited this long on purpose? I would love to hear your thoughts and concerns down below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All the other social media garbage down below. And last but not least, have a wonderful day.